Hey there! Most architectural tutorials, mine included, throw patterns at you before you ever felt the pain they solve, and because of that, almost nothing sticks. So let's try a different approach. We're going to build something simple the way most of us naturally would. Hit a real problem and try to fix it. Maybe even fail to do so. Because architectural nightmares don't begin with massive systems. They begin with code that seems totally fine today. Buckle up. Consider this scenario. I want my player to be able to collect gems, and similar to many other classic games, every X points I want to add a life to the character. I have the scene set up already with a player, the gems that do nothing at the moment but are placed on a separate layer, and a simple UI representing lives and points. Let's break down what we need to do here. When the player collides with a gem, the gem has to disappear. We need to update the current score in its UI. We might need to update the lives if the score has passed a certain threshold. And lastly, we need to play the collection sound. I am planning to implement it in the most basic way possible, without any design patterns. Similar to how most of us would have implemented it when we were just starting out as Unity developers. So let's break down the components I'll need for this feature. A sound manager to play the sound, a UI manager to handle all of the UI updates, a game manager to manage the score and the lives, and lastly, a player controller to handle gem collection. Let's go implement it. I'll start with the basics. First, a sound manager. A really simplistic one. I'll have the audio source and the audio clip of the collection sound referenced as serialized fields, and a simple method that will play the sound when invoked. Next is the UI manager. This one is also simple. I'll need to reference the text components that will display the score and the lives, then a simple method to update the score. Notice that I'm using an unsigned integer here, because I know that the score can't be a negative value. It'll take this parameter and set the score text component's value by converting it to a string. Same approach with lives. I just get the number and update the text field. Now for the game manager. I'll need to hold a reference for the UI manager. This way I'll be able to update the UI when data changes. I'll also add some level of configuration. A field telling how many lives the player will have at the start, and a field telling how much score the player needs to earn in order to receive a life. And once again, since I'm working with positive values only, I can use the unsigned integer. And speaking of lives and score, I'll need a field for each one of those as well. Next, during a wake, I'll initialize those values. I'll set the lives to the value configured in the serialized field and set the score to 0. Since you should always access other components after a wake, during start I'll update the UI manager with the initial values. Now let's create a method that adds lives. The logic here is pretty simple. We add the desired amount of lives to the current lives count and then update the UI via the UI manager with update amount of lives. Lastly, I need to implement the add score method. It's similar to add lives method with a twist. First, calculate the amount of lives our current score has already awarded. Then I increase the score by the provided amount and update the UI with the resulting score. And now I need to decide if I need to update the lives. For this, I calculate how many lives the current score should award in total. If the new amount is bigger than the previous amount, I can trigger the add lives method with the delta. Now that I'm done with all the managers, I can implement the player controller. I'll start with referencing the layer mask of the gems, and then references for the game and sound managers. In my case, those are just serialized fields, but they could have easily been singletons, injected with a dependency injection, or located with a service locator. The only method this controller will have is on trigger enter. All of the gems are set up as trigger colliders, and during a trigger, we need to make sure that the other object is actually a gem. I'm checking this by using a layer. If not, I'm just exiting. Since this is a junior developer code simulation, if it's a gem, I'll just destroy it. No pooling, no disabling, pure destruction. Then I'll invoke the add score method of the game manager. And lastly, I'll play the sound through the sound manager. Now, let's go set up the scene. First, I'll need a sound manager. The sound manager requires an audio source, so I'll add one to its game object and wire the references, the audio source to the SFX sound field, and I have a nice audio clip called coin that will work for me here. Next, a UI manager. I'll attach the component and drag the references for the Text Mesh Pro components, both for the score text and the live text. Now, a game manager. The game manager requires a reference to the UI manager, and I'll leave the other fields with their default values. Lastly, I'll add the player controller script to my character. I'll set the gem layers in the collectibles layer field and assign the references for the game manager and the sound manager. Now I can enter play mode to see this whole thing in action. I start with 0 lives and 0 gems, but when I collect 1 gem, you hear the collect sound and see the gem count updated to 1. When I collect the second gem, the gem count is updated to 2, and I even get 1 life. Seems good enough. If we look at the current dependency graph, we have a player controller that destroys the gem when they collide, accesses the sound manager to play a sound, and tells the game manager to increase the score, which in turn talks to the UI manager. Now, this works, and for some that'll be enough, but games are rarely this simple. And when the complexity of the game grows, poor architectural decisions come back to bite us down the road. I can easily imagine the following situation. Tomorrow, my performance will tank because I spawn and destroy too many gems, so I'll implement a gems manager that will be responsible for the gem pool. Now, instead of destroying the gem, the player controller will talk to the gems manager directly to return the gem to the pool. The next day, I'll need to introduce dynamically loaded environments. So, welcome the level manager. When the player reaches a specific location, it'll tell the level manager to load the level, which will ask the game manager if the request is valid, which will check whether the player is dead. Then the level manager will ask the UI manager to show a loading spinner and request the gems manager to spawn new gems, which will spawn them and ask the sound manager to play the gem spawn sound. A better approach would be to let one entity handle everything. This way, the control flow will remain in one place and will be a lot more manageable. By the way, if you're an experienced developer and have already started typing a comment saying that this defies the SRP and it's not going to be manageable, stop. We're talking about the basics here. We have plenty of time to evolve this approach into something even better in other videos. So now, let's see how we can implement this. First, let's edit the game manager. Since I want the game manager to manage everything, I'll reference the sound manager here. The collectibles layer mask is also migrating here from the player controller. And I no longer want anyone adding lives or score from the outside. So I'll change the access modifier to private. I'll also create a private method to collect a gem. It'll accept a game object as a parameter and do all of the work we need. It'll make the gem inactive, or destroy if you really want to, play a sound via the sound manager, and add score. Lastly, I'll need an entry point here. I'll create the handlePlayerTrigger method, which will receive the object that triggered the collision. With this setup, I can have potentially infinite types of collisions going through this method. If the object in question is a collectible, we'll collect the gem. Now for the player controller. And it's going to get a lot simpler now. Since everything is flowing through the game manager, I'll get rid of all the serialized fields here, except for the game manager. The onTriggerEnter method becomes really slim. All we have to do here is invoke the handlePlayerTrigger method on the game manager, and that should be it. Let's finalize the scene setup. All I have to do is drag the sound manager reference to the game manager and set its collectible layer to gem. And now I can enter play mode and make sure that nothing is broken. I can still pick up gems, hear the sound, and the UI is updating with the correct values. It's you again. You keep watching till the end, aren't you? I might actually have to start making better outros. So, did we solve all architectural problems? Yeah, no. But we did take one messy little feature and move it in a better direction. And honestly, that's how most real architecture work happens. On paper planning or refactoring existing code. You start with something that seems fine. identify the pain points, and try to solve them one step at a time. Next time, we'll tear this exact code apart to see what problems it creates. Subscribe to not miss it, and like the video if it was worth your time. Keep on creating, and I'll see you in the next one.